meditation on the body, or actually not on the body. We don't meditate on the body, because if we would meditate on the body, then it's like the body is separate from our mind. So the moment that I meditate on something, then that thing is separate from me, from the meditator. So this is already a nice start that I didn't expect myself to say, okay, so we don't meditate on something. Yeah, because when we meditate on something, it's already separate from our awareness. And meditation in itself is not being in the separation, but being one with what I see. So it's not a meditation on the body, but it's a meditation, let's say, for the body. Yeah, or with the body. It's a better way to put it. To meditate with the body, at one with the body, being one with the body. So I say a few more words, and we, with these words, already enter into this connection with our body here listening. Huh? So we can feel that the moment we relax a little bit our mind, so right now, let the thoughts kind of calm, like the waves really ebb out. And you can have the eyes open or closed, it doesn't matter really, but to really see that the mind starts to relax. And then when the mind relaxes, in that moment, we see actually that we come into contact with the body. Because the moment that the mind is active and generating thought, with that thought, I separate myself from the body. So I disconnect from the body. And the moment that thought relaxes and rests, the mind rests, I again come into direct contact with the body. So this is already very nice to notice now in this moment, how when the mind relaxes, our body comes into aliveness. So it's no longer disconnected from our awareness. So the moment then we become aware of the body, we can settle the body also, so that the body really is in its natural state. Natural breath. Natural heartbeat. Natural flow of all the fluids in the body. And natural sitting position, relaxed and comfortable. And natural muscles, also relaxed and restful. And the organs working naturally. We don't have to do anything about our organs. They work naturally. We don't have to do anything about our breath. So we don't have to do anything. And in this non-doing, also in this kind of non-meditation, we don't do meditation. We just are. We rest in this moment. And that there's a deep rest. And then when we see something wants to again be active, like some thought or something comes, some tension, something, we just see and we don't do anything about it. So we continuously relax into everything that is arising. And appearances constantly come. So in form of a thought, in form of a sensation, in form of any kind of experience. And we always rest in that experience. So whatever is arising as an experience in this moment, we rest in that. And experience is always moving. Experience is never standing still. So we are awake to how the experience is changing every millisecond. And in that ever changing experience of every moment, into that we relax, into that we rest. In this moment and also in every future moment, whatever experience is arising, I rest in that experience. I don't fight it, I don't run away from it. I am just with it, or I am it in this moment. There's no separation between me and my experience. There's just that experience, whatever is. And then we can notice that there's no longer a separation between me and everything that is happening, even me and my body. So when I notice my body in this moment, I no longer feel it as a thing that I look at, but it is without any thought that I am one with the body. So I notice my breath, I notice my heartbeat, my organs working, all of that activity, all of that without any separation, meaning any thought. I'm in contact directly with all the activity that's happening without us having to do anything. And we can notice that the body is always working. It's literally pulsating. It's vibrating. Every cell is vibrating right now. And we notice this. And so the body is a reflection of life in general, life always pulsating, always moving, nature always moving. So we are not separate from life or nature or out there. And so this is a nice moment now to complete this formal kind of meditation, which we enter it without a beginning as such. It just starts and then it also really doesn't end. But we conclude this little moment of concentration, you see. But we, of course, carry forth this awareness that we developed now in the last 10 minutes, such short time, but such significant time. And we carry it forth as we extend our awareness again, yeah, to all that is happening. So that's why also the session here this evening, 9 p.m. to whatever time, 9:30, it doesn't really begin, it doesn't really end. So it is a moment with ourselves. And this moment tonight, we spend actually on this recognition that when I generate any kind of thought, in that moment, I separate all objects into their place, right? So there's the tree, there's my house, there's my plant, there's my body. And even my mind is separate from my body. Because the way I think about my body, and there's no other way to think, is as a thing that my mind is attached to, right? So I have an illness, like a cough or some pain, and I think about that cough or I think about that pain as something separate from my mind. So I say, oh, I have this pain. In that moment, I have this pain. I am no longer recognizing that I am this pain. There's nothing in between me and this pain other than my thoughts. So, of course, language expresses thought. So we don't take language too seriously, But on the level of the mind, we have to pay good attention that we don't declare this separation between me and my body as real. Because the moment that I declare this real, I no longer have any power. You see what I mean? Because if there's an illness and my mind sees this illness, then what to do? I treat the illness, do something about it. So I no longer allow for my knowing to work itself out. You see, I get stuck in the idea of what I have to do about the illness. So this is now conceptual, the words that I'm saying, they are conceptual inevitably because it's language. So it's a kind of knowledge, but actually we already did the experience of this. So you have already the experience of being one with the body. So you know already in your being what I'm talking about. And now we connect this experience with some concept so that we can recognize this also after the session. Because I don't want meditations to be only experiential. Because if they're experiential, they're nice in the moment, but then the next moment I am back again, in something that I already know. Neither do I want meditations to be purely knowledge-based, so a lot of knowledge in the guidance, because again, knowledge is not very empowering. I can read the most advanced knowledge in the book, but that still doesn't mean I can apply this, the book. You see what I mean? So what we are doing is to recognize something really clearly. We see something really clearly. And today in relationship to the body. So what we're seeing clearly is that when I generate thought, this thought separates me, makes a separation between me and everything, including my body. It's also a thing to thought. It's an object. So then connecting, very difficult with each other also, because everything is kind of awkward. Yeah. So for example, touching another person becomes something a little bit awkward, right? So when we know someone, okay, then through this knowing connection, relationship we can touch. But touching a stranger, it's a bit weird to the mind, because it's a separate object that has its own thing going on. And I'm my separate object. So it becomes weird to touch. So this is also now the little bit the culture we live in. Touch is something quite rare, something quite precious. And even in intimate relationships, sometimes even awkward there. So let alone with strangers. But this doesn't need to be. So it doesn't actually need to be this weirdness, awkwardness, because it's mind-generated, thought-generated. Now, thought, of course, has its use. We don't randomly go around touching strangers, but we recognize and see where it is creating distance and therefore problem. The distance between me and my body, distance between me and the tree, distance between me and the people I meet. And then there's this other, let's call it way of being for the lack of a better term, which in which I recognize thought and I see beyond, and I get directly in touch with the experience of this moment without generating further thought on top of the thought. So I see directly, and in that seeing, I can touch or I can look at my body, and there's no separation. So I look at my hand, So this is something, if you want, you can also switch your camera off. It doesn't matter. You can look at your hand. It's nice to really practice this. Look at your hand and see this hand without any thought in between you and your hand. And when you really look like that, you will notice that the hand also becomes a little blurred because you no longer focus on it as a hand. You just see what's there. And you don't separate the hand from the background behind the hand. So it's no longer defined as a separate object. We have this word called hand, but of course it's only a word. The hand is attached to the body, the body is attached to the earth. You know, the body comes out of earth and dissolves back into earth. So it's not a separate object, the body, neither is the hand a separate object. So when I look at my hand like that, then the hand, you will maybe notice, comes a little blurred. And then you move the hand and there's no thought in between you and the movement even. So there's not a plan like, okay, this is how I'm going to move my hand, but it just moves. Yeah. So of course now it's a little bit weird to do this with the hand, but I just suggest this because in that moment our mind starts to oh, okay, I'm starting to see. So then, for example, meeting another person, it's more challenging than looking at the hand because there are a lot of judgments coming, or maybe not even judgments, but ideas, or many things. The mind is generating so much, huh? Like us being together now, maybe a little less because of our intention, but you see also that in this moment, our mind is generating some activity in between me and you, my voice, and you're listening. So the moment that that we see this, and we start to then pay a lot of attention, and then even the words, the sound of the words, there's no longer a thought in between the sound of the words and my mind. So, which doesn't necessarily mean I become, accept everything. All the words are not analyzed or not examined, but it means that I get directly in touch with the words and what's behind them, also the quality of the words. So I know I no longer listen, but we share a feeling together. So the words just become a way of sharing this feeling together. And then we can notice how actually there are waves, just to imagine this, there are waves between us. Everything comes as a wave, as a kind of frequency. So the words, but even a little twitch in the face or a change in the hands, or now if somebody of you would stand up or I stand up, immediately the waves change. You could say the feeling changes. So it's a kind of direct perception without a filter, without something in between. And this is what we practice in meditation. So this is when we go into meditation as like a formal practice. So now, okay, so there's informal meditation happens every moment. We meditate together every second of this session, and you will continue meditating until the end of this life and beyond. But then there are formal sessions where I say, okay, now I really go with this completely. I put my heart to being with my mind, to getting to know my mind. So then now again, we can put our heart completely to this paying attention. And you see how immediately the quality changes of our mind. It becomes quite subtle. And especially when I say the word heart, the heart, meditation is a heart activity, comes from the heart. Not from, oh, I want to meditate 20 minutes today, I must do this, but it's from the heart. You could say, I love this subtle quality of the mind, the moment that I tune in, the moment that I see directly, I perceive what is happening in me, in my mind. And we can notice these waves that are happening every moment, these waves of experience without thought. Every word moves in experience. Every sound moves in experience. And we are here in meditation, just watching, just seeing. Noticing. We are watching our mind as if we are watching a tree that moves in the wind. And we don't say, oh, this is a tree and it's an oak tree and it's 400 years old and the roots go 9 meters deep. And, we don't do this. We don't do this. We just watch the tree in its glory. And now in this moment, the tree is our mind. We watch our mind and its glory. It's not our enemy. It's who we are. More than a friend. More than a lover even. And nothing is wrong and nothing is right. We can't say the oak tree, today it blows too strong into the left direction. I like more when it goes right, or I like more the oak tree without the wind. That when it has no movement. This is what we do in meditation sometimes. We say, oh, today my mind is so busy. I don't like my mind today. I have to focus. So in that moment, we get away from what meditation is. Just with whatever is happening. Today the wind is blowing strongly into the tree, another day less so, another day, whatever happens. And every movement of the tree, every movement of our mind is a different wave, a different sensation, different feeling, different quality. And we enjoy this, whatever it is. Whatever the mind is producing, it's a spectacle. It's a play of life. We look phenomenally at the mind, not as a thing, but phenomenally. Also the tree, we look phenomenally, not as a tree, just what is happening. And we can extend this view everywhere. We can extend it to watching another person, watching our food, anything. We see this without anything in between. Wonderful, really much. Here we complete, and so what we take forward is this, it's a kind of a practice also to really meditate as a non-meditation. It is formal. We do sometimes sit down, really put our heart to it, but we don't do anything in that. We just see. And what we can do, if you like, you can practice a little bit specifically on the body. So to notice and watch the body in the formal meditation, whatever time, 5 minutes, 1 minute, 20 minutes, and really watch the body without anything in between me and the body. You know? And then body is, of course, only a metaphor because our body isn't separate. So body can mean any matter, a tree, any person, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So anything. Body is anything that is made of matter. So you can look at either your own body or feel your own body or look out and then see the tree, sometimes with the eyes open, sometimes eyes closed, and really notice this wave. So this is really very rich meditation practice. So grazie, as they say in Italia, and big pleasure. Tomorrow we do emotions. Yeah, so it's actually the same, but emotions have a high charge. So emotions, it's like when the body is ill. So when the body is ill, this meditation that we've just done is becoming very difficult. Yeah, because there's a very strong charge towards the body. Yeah, especially if the body is not working, then this becomes very difficult. So maybe already for you, I don't know your stories, but emotions for many people very difficult because there comes a high charge. Yeah, and then I don't want to feel this. Yeah, so then I go against, and that creates some problems, difficulties. So we do that tomorrow. Okay, ciao, ciao.